And what's going on, guys? Today is February 15th. We're in the middle of the market day, right around noon. And you can see what's on your screen. Good old Bora Bora. Looking beautiful, fabulous, elegant, restful, blissful, everything. This, when I have a few minutes, when I have a little time, I just like to look at stuff like this. It's motivation. Because I will be cooling my feet in these waters one of these days. Don't know exactly when, don't know how long it's going to take. But this is what I do this for, in part. This is my personal symbol of success, that I have finally made it, that everything has come to a culmination. So everybody needs a why. This is one of my whys, right? Not the only one, not the biggest one, but it is one. So yeah, very cool. Anyway, what I want to talk about in this video, a couple things. Number one, I want to update you just to make sure I covered this. I thought I talked about it already, but got a question about this in the Discord, but I did update the spreadsheet in a couple places to add commissions. So here, there's a couple of differences between the two places I did add. So I just want to clarify that. So in the trade tracker where you're tracking your progress here, I added this place for commissions, but this commission is going to be a little bit different than the other one because this one is going to account for how much a one spread costs, not a contract, but a spread. Just to make it easier, because it's a little bit more difficult to do a per contract delineation here, just because the way the formulas work and everything like that. I'll probably fix it one day, but for right now, enter how much a total spread costs. So basically 2 contracts, so you just multiply with 1 contract and put it in here. And that's what you're going to need to enter here, and it'll take out the proper amount of commissions from your credit and add everything up correctly. So my personal commissions ends up being about $2.04 per spread. That's what I put in here, and it calculates everything correctly. In the wealth calculator, this is going to be per contract. So you need to basically half the other one. So whatever it is per contract is going to put the right amount in here, because it just calculates things a little bit differently. So just wanted to clarify that. Should be working. If you have a copy of this, if you're a member, and this is not updated for you, all you have to do is just copy, just go into the file and copy it over to your stuff so you can edit it properly and everything, and make sure everything is up to date. And you can copy your numbers right back over here. Just, highlight everything and copy and paste. So just wanted to clarify that really quickly. And we could take a look at what the market is doing today. The market is working fantastically for the trades that we put in today. So you can see here our trading that we have. So right now we're here. The market is kind of dropping away. It had a nice slow gap fill. And as soon as it literally touched the gap starts right here at that little green piece right here. That's where the market ended. And it literally touched that exact number and fell back. So for our trading, it's looking lovely. So on this pullback right here, we got into our put, and our put goes down to 40.65. And this is partly based on this particular support line right here. This is going back a couple of days. So it looks like the market wants to abide by this support level right now, and all of our news is out for the day. We had some inflation stuff that the market didn't like, inflation seeming to be a little bit stronger than expected. So we did gap down on that information, but it does seem to be trying to stay above this particular area right here. So we were able to get into a put. I waited a little bit longer today because I noticed getting in earlier, we get junk like this, and it seems to kind of show its hand by 10 o'clock, 10:30, as far as, when it's going to be doing, stuff like this. So I decided to wait a little bit today, and that seems to have panned out so far. So got in almost on a perfect fill because the market, didn't get any lower than this ever since. And then when we got our race to the gap fill, entered a trade almost at the top of the gap fill right here for a call spread. It was a small call spread because I figured this trade right here was so successful as far as the timing. I didn't want to push anything on here on the other side if I was going to get into the market, just in case. So this was a tiny trade. It's like a 10-cent trade, but this is more like icing on the cake for me, because this one was a nice fill at 20 cents. So total 30-cent credit on the day. But this was also a very good timed fill on this call spread. So we're sitting at 40.75 on this particular fill right here. So this is more than 2 standard deviations away from where the market was at that time. And then the market retreated pretty much after we got filled on that as well. So now we're kind of ping-ponging between where we entered our fills, which is perfect. I like this no man's land area. I try to create this when I'm doing an iron condor, just like yesterday. I don't want my trades to kind of overlap each other. I want the opposite. I want a gap here. So I want to enter my calls when the market is on the upside, and then the puts when the market is on the downside. So it leaves this kind of gap, this no man's land here, which is going to have theta decaying out of my trade very, very fast. So far it's working exactly like that. You can see over here, if we go to our account, you can see that we're up and we only got $15 left to extract out of the trade before we're at 0, and the clock is ticking. And while we're in no man's land, it just feels good, right? It's very, very stress-free when you're trying to do other stuff. So even if the market is doing all this kind of junk right here, as long as we're in no man's land, doesn't matter to me, right? So we could do other stuff and not have to really worry about too much, right? So I got my kind of eyeball on the market. I've got on the right-hand side of the screen, I've got this going right here. This is that new website that I keep talking about. So this one right here is very good for trying to find entries, I've found. So what I do is I will look for spikes in volatility to get in the put side. And I will look for very low volatility areas, or areas where the expected move is trailing, in a pretty good spot to get into the call side. And it works very well, actually. So that's partly how I was able to get such good entries today. I just wait for a little pop-up on this screen right here, go over straight to my phone or whatever I'm using, pop in the order that I've been waiting on, and then wait for it to get filled. So it's been working out lovely. So website is a boss. Thank you very much for whoever made that. And I just kind of keep it peeking out, right? Kind of like I have my whatever I'm looking at the time over here, and then I have this kind of peeked out right here, so I can kind of keep track of the market without having it dominating my screen. So that's pretty cool. So that's where we're at today. And based on where we are, we're not out of the woods yet, but we can see the edge of the woods, I guess you could say. So if we keep ping-ponging for maybe like another hour, maybe another hour or two, or an hour and a half, actually. Once we get to about 2 o'clock and we're still in no man's land, I would say that we're pretty much out of the woods. So we'll see how that goes. Gonna be curious to see where the market goes in general. It's kind of sideways for the last couple of days. I can't really decide. We don't have too much coming up this week. I don't think. We've got PPI coming up, but CPI is already kind of telling a story as far as that's concerned. Maybe this will confirm. But after that, we really don't have too much. Something I do want to see is building permits. I'm kind of trying to look towards the housing market to see what that looks like as far as stability, what the direction is going. So far, the housing market looks pretty resilient from the numbers that we do get. but I am very curious to see like mortgage delinquencies, for example. I really want to see what that's looking like in this environment. And then what the builders are we building more houses? What's going on? What do the sales look like? All that kind of stuff. And so far it looks pretty resilient and pretty equalized. But I think if that starts turning, it's going to kind of determine where my mind goes as far as where the market's going to head. But right now it's pretty positive. So we'll see. So that's it for now. We'll come back and hit you next time. All right.